Today's podcast is brought to you by the BetStamp app, which is helping thousands of people win at sports betting for free. The same way travelers use Google Flights or Expedia to find the best prices, bettors can now use BetStamp to do the same. When you place a bet, the odds given by a sportsbook will determine how much you could possibly win, even when betting on the same outcome. Different sportsbooks will offer varying payouts, and these differences can be huge. Thankfully, BetStamp allows you to easily line shop for the most profitable odds across all sportsbooks. You can click on any matchup and instantly see all the different odds for game lines, player props, and even futures bets. Line shopping is the simplest way to find an edge in sports betting and maximize your chances of winning long term. On average, BetStamp users win an extra $1,000 yearly just by line shopping. You can find the BetStamp app on the Apple iOS Store, Google Play Store, or through your browser at www.betstamp.app. To access all these benefits, sign up using promo code
CinqBoys.
CinqBoys and start your journey to successful sports betting today. If you forget to use the code upon sign up, you can always enter our code in the BetStamp account settings afterwards. Check it out. What's going on, everybody? This is the CinqBoys podcast.
CinqBoys!
Let's go! Yeah, sometimes you come in with a CinqBoys. That one you came in with some power, with some edge.
Dude, this is a powerful, edgy episode coming up.
I couldn't agree more. Especially because that's what we're going to be doing a lot on this podcast, is agreeing.
What?
Listen.
Agreeing?
Yeah, we agree on a lot more than what you think we agree on.
I hate it.
No, you don't.
I hate it. We did our notes together, and Joe didn't look at my picks before he made them.
I wasn't supposed to. I wasn't trying. Why would I look at your picks before I make my picks? I wasn't like, oh, Jack's taking this guy. So
create good content.
All right, let's get into it. We're going to talk about the awards today, and then later in the day, it'll be a separate episode. We're going to record our full Giants preview with our father.
Lord in heaven.
I was thinking the same thing. His friend Phil. We did the same thing last year, and then we're going to bring on Sharif separately, and we're going to go through everything with the Giants. That's the best episode of the year.
That episode's probably going to come in a couple days.
Probably right before the actual season starts. But today's episode is all about the awards predictions.
We got predictions.
And, like, winners of the AFC, winners of the NFC, Super Bowl winner, all that good stuff. So let's get into it. Let's start with the heaviest one.
The MVP. All right. So I kind of categorized all of the awards as, okay, we got realistic winners, we got long shots, and then you look in between those two lists and you find your favorites. And for MVP, it's a quarterback award. When's the last time an MVP wasn't a quarterback? Wasn't it like Von Miller?
I think that was in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
I think season MVP, maybe Bo Jackson. Dude, I have no idea.
Okay. So obviously it's a quarterback award. You got the guys at the top, you got the heavy hitters, the almost sure things, and Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, and then Herbert. No more than 3-1 apart. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean,
if you're looking at
so
the
much
list, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Mahomes at plus 600, Allen and Burrow at plus 700 each, and Herbert at plus 900. Pretty good odds. Because when it's mid-season, the favorite is going to be favored by quite a lot. But then there's three guys that I think that you have to consider for this award, and it's Trevor Lawrence, Lamar Jackson, and Tua, all at 16-1. Joe?
Dude, I don't like that Tua play at all there. I think that Tua is more of like a game manager for them. Like Tua is not going to be doing the running around the field like Mahomes, Allen, and Lamar, Herbert. Like all of these guys, Trevor Lawrence, like he's not going to be that guy. They're going to tell him to not do that stuff. But to sit in the pocket, make quick throws to these guys that are ripping across the field or ripping down the field. So I'm not going to give more credit than I have to Tua for anything. But the other guys on the list, yeah.
Was Eric Dickerson the running back for when the greatest show on turf?
I have no idea.
Yeah, me neither. No, it was Marshall Falk. Yikes.
I don't
What
know
a swing
what
and a
you're
miss.
talking about, dude.
But yikes, I didn't look any of this up, so I don't know.
So
But I
you
feel
just
like
started
I
going.
feel like Kurt Warner got the MVP, not Isaac Bruce, not Marshall Falk. It was the greatest show on turf. Kurt Warner was the distributor, baby. And I think Tua is more of a playmaker in the backfield. He's not going to go and run and take off, especially with these concussions. He's not going to risk that. Even though last year, after his first concussion, he tried to barrel over somebody in Pittsburgh. Um, no, I think he's going to make plays in the backfield. We've seen it before. He's going to make guys miss. He's going to do these elusive plays and make nice throws. And it's just like I said with the greatest show on turf. It's like you have these absolute weapons flying around the field. They're going to score a lot. They're going to get a lot of yards. Best case scenario, obviously. I didn't even have him as one of my favorites. I'm just absolutely going to bat for Tua right now. Guy could have a record-breaking season. Guy could have a lot of yards.
Dude, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. But even when what we saw last year, he only finished with like 3,700 yards. I know he missed 5 games, but he missed 4.5. I know that's a lot, but
that's it. I thought he missed like 7.
He played in 13 games last year. I don't know how many games he left early. It might have been 2. I counted 1, but he definitely. What, the Bengals game was the first concussion, the brutal one, and then the media was like, "Yeah, you probably shouldn't play this guy." They're like, "No, he's going to play."
I think he got slammed against the Bills. Like 2 weeks before that, he got concussed. They were like, "Oh, let's look at it in the locker room." Comes back in the second half, and then the Bengals game was the second one, the really bad one.
All right, we've talked a lot about Tua, so let's look at I'm just going to say my case for the MVP. Mahomes won it last year. I don't know how many times that these guys do these guys win just MVPs in a row, in a row, in a row? Maybe. I mean, is this his second MVP? I think it is.
Who?
Mahomes.
The one that he just won?
Yeah,
I think so.
Okay. Is he going to win another one? Probably not. But what I want to focus on here is I think that Justin Herbert is going to have somehow a better season than what he's had in the past. And what he's had in the past is 4,500 yards consistently, 25 plus touchdowns consistently. But I think the touchdown number is going to be above 40 this year. And I think he's going to throw for 5,000 yards. So to me, those numbers are absolutely undeniable. Mahomes could put up the same amount of numbers, though. But would they give the nod to Justin Herbert over Mahomes after Mahomes won it last year? I think so.
Do you think the conversation would come down to, well, we got Mahomes, Burrow, and Herbert all passed for over 5,000 yards, all had 40-plus touchdowns, but Mahomes has a worse wide receiver core, so we'll give it to Mahomes. No.
That's something I always think about, dude, is like I think of the Seahawks offense and I'm like, holy mamacita, there is a lot of weapons on this team. Speed, power, and then it's just I think about Mahomes and what he has, and it's just absolutely nowhere close. And he's able to do what he's doing. Even Justin Herbert has had Keenan Allen and Mike Williams his whole career, and Eckler. So it's like all these other guys have all these things, and Mahomes doesn't.
We never ranked our wide receiver cores, actually, also. It's not like we did so many rankings. But looking at wide receiver cores, Burrow, Tua, Herbert,
Lawrence.
Ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Lamar's got better, but it's nothing special whatsoever. Odell is the big name in that receiver room. Dude, worst contract in the league. Can we talk about that? This guy's projected like 40 catches and 600 yards and like 3 touchdowns this year. He's paid $18 million this year. And running backs can't get $12 million without the whole world telling them that they don't deserve it. It's crazy. What a
It's
brutal
it's
contract.
a passing game now.
Dude's 30 with 2 ACLs.
He's going to be better than ever.
Dude, you know I'm a huge fan of Odell. Don't get me going on Odell.
Did
I
you
think
see
he's
that
gonna be
Jalen
great.
Hyatt video?
What the Odell shout out video?
Yeah.
Yes, guys.
And then I saw after that post, you slide the thing. You know, there's multiple dots on the bottom, and it's just Odell highlights on the Giants. Tears
Beckham.
cry.
Dude, I miss Odell. Hopefully we get some resemblance of Odell with Hyatt this year.
Okay, so we didn't make our picks yet, but give me some reasons for why you didn't go with Mahomes, Burrow.
Mahomes, just because I don't think he's actually going to do it twice in a row. Burrow, I'm somehow more concerned than most about this calf. Like, what have we seen from guys that come into a season injured? It doesn't really end well, regardless of the position. And when you miss time in an MVP race, you're not winning the MVP. So there's that. Josh Allen, year 2 without his daddy, Brian Dable. I don't, dude. Why is that your reaction? He needs Dable. He is his dad.
We'll see.
All right. Well, I don't believe in Josh Allen to be able to do it. Can't wait to get to that conversation with Jack later. I'm pretty upset with him, but
I'm pretty upset with you.
Dude, these guys down here, I didn't even see. Jalen Hurts, totally forgot about Jalen Hurts for the MVP conversation. I would probably take him to come in second or third.
Yuck.
Why?
So I wrote give me a case for. So I wrote Hurts, Rodgers, Dak, Fields, Watson. But Hurts, Rodgers, Dak. Kind of in the same class for me.
How?
They're not the same type of player by any
that's
means,
what I'm saying.
but I don't think their touchdown numbers are going to be too far apart. Dak should be a lot better, but that's the conversation about Dak. It's underwhelming. Hasn't done what he's expected to do. Jalen Hurts, I don't think he's going to have a better year than last year. And if last year wasn't good enough, then I don't know if it's ever going to be good enough.
Perfect way to say that, dude.
And
congratulations.
And Rodgers is going to be check down average 6 yards in the air per pass this year. And he might scratch like the 4,000 yards surface, but he's going to be game manager Rodgers again. He's going to have the Baker Mayfield season from 2020, 25-10, something like that. Maybe he'll get 30, but if the Jets are winning games, it's not going to be because Aaron Rodgers is putting on an absolute show. Rebuttal?
I think that he has to do that for them to win games.
I think their defense is very, 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 very good, and they're going to win the most of the games. And Rodgers just needs to be, like I just said, game manager Rodgers, where you're doing a little bit more than what's expected, but you're not. He's not going to be having like 300-yard, 350-yard games. I don't think it's possible. It's going to be Devontae esque with Garrett Wilson all year. Like 60% of target share or something crazy like that.
All right. The case for Fields and Watson, I don't even want to get into those guys. I mean, Watson, as much as I want to believe that he can be what he used to be, that receiving core is thin, super thin. And Nick Chubb is probably going to carry a majority of their offensive production, which obviously has nothing to do with him. And then Fields, I don't see a path. We talked about it in the last pod how the only thing that they added on offense was DJ Moore. And DJ Moore, apparently the plan for him is to, get him the ball in space. Let him, get those opportunities where he can, home run touchdown from 70 yards out. It's like anybody can do that shit. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear that shit. You get the right blocking going, anybody could take it to the house. No. You've been dismissed, Justin Fields. There's no way you win the MVP.
Well, I'm not going to go that far.
Why?
He could have a Lamar season.
But Lamar had that season, and we talked about this a bunch of times, where the other quarterbacks in the NFL didn't have great seasons.
Yeah, but dude,
There's
Lamar.
10 quarterbacks that could have a better
The
season.
thing is that I always give Lamar shit for not being able to pass as well as an NFL quarterback needs to be able to pass. But he had 36 passing touchdowns that year. Like we were looking at the runner-ups in a previous episode a while ago, and yeah, the quarterback performances were down, but like Russell Wilson had like less passing touchdowns than that or something, and he was like second best. Aaron Rodgers had a down season, like, but like none of them were getting up to 36. 36 is a lot, but Lamar throwing for 36 touchdowns, holy crap. Now, if Justin Fields can rush for like 1,200 yards and let's say he has something like 4,500 all-purpose yards. And
Dude, it's also like your team winning.
And like 40 total touchdowns.
I mean, dude, those are insane numbers, but what happens when his team is fucking 7-10, 8-8, and you have Herbert with 45 total touchdowns and 6,000 total yards or whatever it is, and it's like his team is 13-4, something like that. It's like, get the dude,
I just want to say, like Justin Fields is not like I'm not picking him, but
he's on your team.
This is a way that I wanted to separate how I'm going to look at these guys. And I wrote, give me a case for Justin Fields. It seems like I had to give the case because I'm not picking him, but there's always a chance.
Oh my God.
Yeah, dude, I know you're going to get pissed about the road. You're going to get pissed about, yeah, dude, you're middle of the road. I don't want to be the guy that gets caught going into this season like this, and this. This is how it's going to go.
That's why we're doing this.
The Niners lost to who in week 2? It was a horrible
team. The Bears.
Yeah. Dude,
it was a monsoon.
We have that scheduled in ink. Like, that's a win. And it's not a win. It's like shit like that happens all year long.
And what did we learn about that team last year is that they are on the wrong side of those a lot. Losing games that we thought they should win easily.
Okay, why can't it be flipped around with a team like the Bears who doesn't have the craziest schedule because and not the hardest division and their quarterback can run all over the field and get 20 rushing touchdowns or something?
Yeah, dude, you can't do both.
I can.
No, you can't get 20 rushing touchdowns running all over the field. Like Hurts had 15 last year or 12, and he was doing 1-yard sneaks. Mm-hmm. And he had a handful of like 15-yarders that he took an option in. Dude, you can't do that and be able to be the passer and win games. We're talking
about MVP, so I'm not gonna say that a guy that's like 7-10 and isn't doing both of those things is worthy of an MVP. I'm saying a guy that's gonna win the MVP is doing both of those things.
And here we are once again. Justin Fields takes over the fucking CinqBoys podcast. Let's get out of here. Who's your pick?
Justin Herbert.
I am also taking the same. You're going to see a theme here. We did not get together and say, yeah, we should both take the same pick on these. We just happen to agree. It's okay. Offensive player of the year. Here we go, boys.
How's this voted on? The guy that has the most yards by like 50 yards and one more touchdown than the next guy. Is that how it goes?
I think it also has to be like Justin Jefferson did what he did last year as quote unquote the only option. He also had those like that 4th and 18 catch. He had a couple of like game-winning plays where it's like this guy's the best player on the field no matter who he's playing against. So I think that factors in, like, this is an opinion-based award. We know that numbers matter, and Justin Jefferson did have the most yards last year as a receiver, and none of the running backs. Actually, Josh Jacobs had a huge year. But no one was closer to breaking a record last year than Justin Jefferson. Dude, I don't know. See, I'm talking out of my ass. I don't know.
Well, the top candidates, I didn't think they were going to be this far of odds. You can't really go wrong if you're picking any one of these guys because they're all 11 to 1 or more. The top candidate is Jamar Chase. And then last year's champ, JJ, got McCaffrey at 14 to 1, got Chubb at 18 to 1. That's a surprise. We got Tyreek at 20 to 1. That's a surprise. Garrett Wilson 25, St. Brown 30, Adams 30, Henry 30, Lamb 35, Diggs 35. And then it kind of just keeps going from there. I got a couple favorites because for some reason I don't believe that Jamar Chase is going to have an incredible year with his quarterback with a calf injury to start. Justin Jefferson went just about as well as it could last year for him. And
well said.
Back-to-backs, you don't see it a whole lot. I don't really follow the OPOY, year to year that closely. This is probably the most I've done it. McCaffrey, I think there's too many cooks in the kitchen. Chubb, people like to paint him as a one-way running back. This guy can't catch passes, but he absolutely can. I don't know. He could do just as good as Josh Jacobs did last year. And I still don't know if that wins you the award. Now, he is a fan favorite. But I got some favorites. Now, before we do that, give me a case for Chase.
Dude, he's unbelievable at football. And he's only gonna get better. Really nothing has changed in terms of Cincinnati except for the health of Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow, dude, also apparently Joe Burrow is like unbelievably accurate on deep balls. And like 25 yards to 50 yards is like his gold zone where everything is right on the money. And that's where these kind of guys excel the most. So yeah, dude, if Burrow is healthy, yes, Jamar Chase is an excellent bet for that.
What about Devontae Adams?
I watched an interview on him and he was talking about how he plays. And he's like, he goes into every route on the route tree with 3 ways that he could dominate you. And dude, I just think that some guys are just elitely gifted forever on the mental aspect of their sport. And his size and his hands, like he's a jump ball guy. He's bigger than everybody else. He's an amazing route runner. But it's Jimmy G. So what are we talking about here, dude? I don't know. Who knows what Jimmy G is going to be without his daddy, Kyle Shanahan. Yikes, dude.
Diggs.
Sideline. Touchdown. He's another guy, dude. He's a little bit smaller, but elite receiver. I don't think that he actually has a better season this year than any of the other guys. I think that he has 1,300 yards and 10 touchdowns, but I don't think that can get it done.
You hungry there, pal?
Yeah, you hear my stomach.
Oh yeah, that was an eruption.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I need to watch the Bills more closely this year just find out like where they're buzzing, how they get buzzing. And if it's just Josh Allen taking off and trucking someone over and and then we'll feed it to Diggs or we'll get a screen going or little HB dive special. Need to figure out how the Bills operate because if Diggs is getting those kinds of numbers every year and Josh Allen is for passing for as many yards as he is every year, I need to figure out how that's happening because they haven't had anybody else in this receiver room stick besides Diggs. And I don't know, defenses are going to figure it out. And
yeah, Gabe Davis sucks.
Yeah, that guy's terrible. He had that 3 touchdown game.
Yeah, the Chiefs game. He is immortalized from that game.
Oh, yeah.
Because he had, I think, 2 touchdowns in the last 2 minutes. But All right, I'm going to talk about my favorites really quick. McCaffrey. I think obviously one of the best players in the NFL of the past 5 years. Like, you cannot deny this guy's skill as a football player in every way. And a full season with Shanahan and the offense they got going on makes him a cheat code in my mind. I don't care that there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen. When he can still stand out apart from the rest of those guys, it's unreal, dude. We know that they've had talented running backs run through that organization for years now, but nobody has been as good as Christian McCaffrey. Calvin Ridley is plus 8,000. Sometimes I see something on social media and that completely changes how I think about somebody. I saw this video of Calvin Ridley and Zay Jones both running the same route in practice, and it's like Zay Jones runs a 4.4, and you see him run the route, and then just coming flying in from out of the picture, running the route is Ridley, and it's just like, I don't know how anybody can cover this guy. So I'm just gonna ride the hype train with Trevor Lawrence and Calvin Ridley and say that Calvin Ridley can win this award.
Yeah.
At plus 8,000.
I think he's not like heavily favored and like how, everybody's talking about it, but I think it's still like kind of like a sneaky safe bet that Calvin Ridley is going to pop off in Jacksonville. And he's in a really good situation. He immediately skyrockets from an offense where they don't have a quarterback to now he's in an offense where he is the number one option for a good quarterback. Yeah, just like in fantasy, this is a really good sneaky pick, and 80-1 is an absolute gift. I want to highlight really quick. Wait, now you do your other favorite. Don't reveal your pick yet, and then I want to go do something else real quick.
All right, my other favorite is Darren Waller. Big Blue. I think it's very clear that he's going to be the focal point of the offense, and he's 6'6", runs like a 4.4, 4.5, has great hands. He already has an immediate connection with DJ. Apparently, they stay after practice and keep working on stuff, route tree, whatever else, communications. In the preseason, he had 3 catches on 1 drive. He's going to get the targets. He's going to be able to make the plays. They're going to scheme up. What they're able to do in terms of scheming up tight ends, especially. They got Kafka in there, and they got Brian Dable. I think that he can have 120 catches and 1,600 yards and 10 touchdowns.
Let's go.
I think that it's possible. I could see him getting 180 targets. That's 10 targets a game, give or take. Yes, I can see that happening. Yes, I can see him catching 75% of the passes that Daniel Jones absolutely fucking rips in there. And yes, in a 17-game season, assuming he stays healthy, I think he can get a touchdown every other game. I feel like that's not a lot to ask for from Darren Waller. We're hammering at plus 15,000, fellas. Let's fucking go.
All right. Wow. It's a bold call, Cotton. Can't wait to see how it pans out. We're going to go over some long shots here. Some things are ridiculously priced and other things aren't. First thing I want to shout out, Kadarius Toney has better odds to win Offensive Player of the Year than TJ Hawkinson. I'm sorry, Sharif, but dude, we didn't ask for this and we need to talk about it. It's hilarious. Kadarius Toney has horrible stats. He's never proved anything. He scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl. That's his greatest achievement, besides being a Super Bowl champ, belonging to a team for 9 weeks in the year that they won. So how much of a part of the team was he really? Now I'm just taking shots. That's unnecessary. Just because I don't really have to say much, besides the fact that Kadarius is never really going to be that good. He might be out of the league in 2 or 3 years. He's nothing but a gadget guy on a gadget offense where he's super replaceable. And to have better odds than TJ Hawkinson to win Offensive Player of the Year, that is fucking insane. So,
Dude, you were just dropping bars right there. Kadarius Toney sucks. TJ Hawkinson just signed the biggest deal in the history of tight ends. What are we talking about?
it's not a conversation. Kadarius is never going to see that off-season day where he's making big money.
Dude, but at the same time, I understand this number because like Hawkinson can't possibly have a bigger, better season than JJ when they're on the same team. So that's the only thing I can think of there.
Okay, so Kelsey and Tony should be closer together.
What a fucking counter argument, bud.
Okay. So
who do you have winning this award?
Stop.
Damn it.
Stop. I think Garrett Wilson is a fun pick.
Same.
I think Amon-Ra, that's a stretch. He should be more around like 40-1, 50-1, but he's at 30-1. Adams, that is a stretch with Jimmy G. As we went over, Derrick Henry, I think he's on the down slope. CeeDee Lamb, we both really, really like. He's undeniable, one of the best athletes in the league. Unlimited swag too. Diggs, Bijan, Olave. I love Tony Pollard. So my favorites were Tyreek, Garrett Wilson, CeeDee Lamb, Bijan, Pollard, and Kelsey. So I was looking at these options and I was like, let's break it down in one way. What makes them really, really special, or what gives them a good case? It's not really much to say about Tyreek. You don't really have to say much about him. Garrett Wilson, he's the only real target for Aaron Rodgers this year. He's the only real offensive stud that's going to be consistently catching balls. So that's the thing he has going for him, but it is nothing like he has more tools than a lot of other receivers, like guys like CeeDee Lamb, Diggs, a bunch of other guys are just as good, have just as much talent as he has. CeeDee, consistently incredible. The only problem is that I also have Pollard here and he's on his team, and I don't know how. I don't know if he's going to be able to win with such a big offensive threat on his team. Bijan might be the best running back this year, and Kelsey is the only real target for Mahomes. So to sum it all up, I think Tyreek's going to have an insane year, and I'm going with Tyreek.
All right. Huge surprise here. But I'm also going to go with Tyreek Hill. He is clearly not from this planet, just in general, with the speed and like he can run past you while telling you you can't catch him. Nobody else can do that shit. If Tua is healthy, first of all, Tua missed 5 games last year at least. We'll say 5. And he had 1,700 yards and 7 touchdowns. Yes, I took him in fantasy second overall. No, I'm not biased. It all mixes into the same conversation. I think he's going to have the best year in the NFL this year. Offensive Player of the Year. If it was an even conversation between the quarterbacks and the rest of the league, he's winning the MVP. Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill goes to the Dolphins, and I got them going to the fucking Super Bowl. Let's go to the moon.
Yeah, so we're done with that.
Come on, dude. Come on.
Nah, dude, let's go Defensive Player of the Year. Let's jump directly into it. Now, another category where I don't really know how they vote for it. I don't know how they break it down. Is it who has the brightest stat sheet at the end of the year? Sacks, picks. Do linebackers have a chance unless they play from the outside and they're rushing the quarterback?
No.
We saw some of the top tackle leaders I was looking up last year because we were looking up TJ Edwards because he was on the Eagles and he was like top 5, top 7 in tackles, total tackles. That list is comprised of a bunch of no names.
Dude, that Jags Jaguars linebacker had like 190 tackles last year, and I didn't even know who he was.
Never heard of that guy. So here's a list of the best pass rushers and defensive linemen in the league, with 2 cornerbacks peppered in there. Micah Parsons is the big favorite. Myles Garrett right behind him. TJ Watt, Nick Bosa, Aaron Donald, Sauce Gardner, Max Crosby. Love Max Crosby's game. Definitely biased after watching the quarterback documentary. I had no idea he got so many hits and so many sacks on Mahomes last year. Chris Jones, holdout, probably not a real option. Quinnen Williams, it's like this is where we start to get to like the real big long shots. Quinnen Williams, how much of an effect is he actually going to have on the game? Is he going to be 13 sack guy, 14 sack guy as a D tackle?
I mean, it's possible. I think he had 16 last year, but
he had 16 sacks.
Fuck, I thought we were talking about Chris Jones. No, dude, I think that the Jets have too much going on everywhere else that he can't possibly stick out that much.
And they have Sauce, who's rated higher than him. Hassan Reddick, insane year last year on an insane defense. What say you that he repeats that performance?
What say me? I like that you said that. I've never heard you say that before. What say me? Too many names, dude. Same thing.
Hutchinson?
No way. That's not it, dude. No.
Joey Bosa?
Absolutely not.
Surtain is an interesting one because he's rated really high against a bunch of other guys.
He's unreal.
And he is just as good, if not better than Sauce. 40-1 odds to win DPOY. That's in the conversation for me. Another guy in the conversation. Matthew Judon. Totally sleeper. One of the best defensive players in the league last year on a Bill Belichick defense that's going to be just as good this year as it was last year, if not better. They got Christian Gonzalez too. You get coverage sacks. You get interceptions because the quarterback's under pressure. That's going to be a good defense, and it's going to be because of those 2 guys. And throw in Jack Jones and Keon. Was it Keon White? Pass rusher that they just got. And then Joe's favorite, Jalen Phillips for Miami.
Yeah, freak athlete. I think when he was drafted, he either had injury history in college or some type of like in trouble history. But this dude's an alien. This dude is like a tight end. Nah, that doesn't make sense. He's just like an athlete. He's a massive human being, and he's an athlete. And Vic Fangio's there. They added to the defense. I think that he's going to be a star in this league for years.
It's just like Kayvon. Now I'm just going to think of like Kayvon. Like you're just talking about a guy that can move any which way, super, 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 super athletic, and then built like an absolute specimen. It's like that is the model pass rusher nowadays. It's just like an absolute athletic specimen. So my favorites, top 3 guys, but in a different order. TJ Watt at plus 800. That's my pick. I think, Joe, take it away because you had a really good point on why you picked Watt. For me, he changes the team, and he is like he has DPOYs in his trophy case at home already for a good reason. He's unbelievable. He's just as good as anybody else at getting to the quarterback. Now, the only reason that Micah Parsons wasn't my pick is because has he done it yet? And I think because he is so versatile, he helps the team in other ways besides sacks, and that shouldn't hurt his case, but he doesn't get as many sacks as the next guy.
Dude, I think that they came out and said that they're going to commit to making Micah Parsons a full-time pass rusher because why not? That's one thing. I think Micah Parsons deserves to be the favorite. He stays on the field, and he is a game wrecker. Also, dude, it makes like when you're that consistent as a pass rusher, it makes the rest of the team's job easier. That's why, like, if you have a really good pass rush, it creates turnovers in the secondary. So I think that's like Trayvon Diggs. Is Trayvon Diggs who he is without Michael Parsons? Probably not. Anyway, we already talked about Jalen Phillips, Patrick Surtain. I just think he's the best corner in the NFL right now. Um, I think him, Jair, and Sauce definitely like have that kind of lockdown. We could get debatable after that. But yeah, I also took TJ Watt. The Steelers are 1 in 10 all time when TJ Watt doesn't play, and their win percentage when he does play is like close to 68, 70%. And they've been a 500 team pretty much his whole career. So also, dude, like if he does play the entire season, he's the type of guy where I'm like, can you go and break the sack record this year?
Mm-hmm.
Like he's unbelievable. Like you watch him, he's like, oh, there he is again, second and 8, and he gets a 12-yard sack. There goes that drive. He gets to it. It's like he just makes plays. A tackle for loss on a run, like just makes plays.
That was a really interesting point you just brought up, though, about how he could, if he stays healthy. Also, what you said about how he's only been like 500 his whole career. Like they've
No,
never.
the team, the
I know,
team.
I know. Like he's been one of the best defensive players since.
Yeah, but they had the end of Big Ben's career, and then now the Trubisky era and the Kenny Pickett era. Now
I can't believe you're calling it the Trubisky era when he played like 10 games last year, and that's
he didn't
all
play.
he's gonna
No,
play.
but who played before that? Big Ben.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Um. No, he's TJ Watt's been on a 500 team his whole career. It's like the circumstances is like you just didn't have a quarterback when you were playing. Now this is supposed to be the year when they're all supposed to be really good. That Pittsburgh defense that's been good for years, that's been hungry for wins. They're gonna be chomping at the bit. TJ Watt's gonna take home that DPOY. He's gonna break the sack record, and I'm cashing 8-1 odds. Cha-ching.
All right, we're on TJ Watt, we're on Tyreek Hill, and we're on Justin Herbert. It's the CinqBoys. Yuck. I really I like agreeing with Jack and he hates agreeing with me. It doesn't make any sense. When we're on the same page, it's great because then we root for the same things. Who doesn't love rooting for the same things with your boys? I don't get it.
I do.
Okay, yeah, we're moving on.
All right, Coach of the Year.
All right, I'll take over.
Yeah.
So, this award is a who can take the worst relative team and improve them the most. It's the Coach of the Year award. If we go on FanDuel to the bottom of the list, like the longest of shots of with odds. Yikes. We find cats like Andy Reid, Brian Daboll, Kyle Shanahan, John Harbaugh, Mike Vrabel. These guys are all Doug Peterson. These guys are all the best coaches in the NFL. Nobody can argue any other way. These guys have been around the longest. Well, Brian Daboll, he won Coach of the Year last year, so now he's in that class. But Reid, Shanahan, Harbaugh, these guys, we know that they're amazing. But yet they are the longest shots of odds to win this award. We scroll up to the top. Dan Campbell is the best. He's the favorited guy to win Coach of the Year. We went through the Hard Knocks episodes with him last year, and we saw him turn that team with the Jamal Williams crying and all this stuff, turn them into almost a playoff team if it wasn't for like they beat the Packers to make the playoffs, but they weren't able to actually sneak in.
If you want to cry like a puppy, stay on the porch. Let the big dogs eat.
But what is the relative actual rate of improvement for the Lions this year? Yeah, they can win the division, but is that going to get him a Coach of the Year? I don't think so. I think they have to go like 14-3 or 13-4 for him to have a chance at this award.
I don't know if they need to do that good, but I I agree. Like they went 9-8 last year. They missed the playoffs.
I don't think them making the playoffs in the wild card is going to, or even the 4 seed, because all the other divisions are better.
Like
I don't think that that wins him the award.
it's it's not a 2-year award. I think you're right actually, because you can't look at it like, hey, they weren't supposed to be good last year, and then they did good last year, and then they did even better this year. That's not how it goes. They're also expected to do a lot better. They're expected to win the division. So I think you're right. I think the only way they win this division, I mean, the only way that they win this award is if they like start off slow and then they like pick up at the end of the season. They go and hit the playoffs like really hard. And I think as much as it doesn't factor in, or it's not supposed to factor in, if they win a playoff game or two, I think that helps.
I don't know how long they actually wait before they vote on this stuff.
I think all the awards don't happen until like at least the second round, third round of the playoffs. They don't start announcing this stuff. Like I remember we were waiting for Coach of the Year for Daboll for a while.
Yeah.
Like when I saw it announced on like the bottom line on ESPN, like I didn't even see a notification on my phone.
Yeah.
I was just like, is this real? Is this like the Coach of the Year award that we care about, that anybody cares about? Also, Associated Press votes on it.
It makes sense, dude. If you're gonna trust anybody, you gotta trust the guys that spend their entire life following everything that happens in the NFL.
I just always am going to think about it like the Ted Lindsay in hockey, where that award is MVP as voted on by your peers.
Of course, that's the better one. But
yeah, but they don't say who's got the most Lindsays. They say who's got the most hearts. Doesn't make sense to me, dude. Why do we have to listen to how other people think and how the people that run the sport think that we should value these awards?
Well, then McDavid would win every year, right? Or did Matthews?
Why not? If you're the best, then you're the best.
I agree. Wow. Dude, you're on fire.
Also,
you're fucking buzzing.
Also, Matthews won last year because he won all three. I think he won the Rocket, the Hart, and the Lindsay. Missed out on the Art Ross because McDavid had that.
All right, Sean Payton is the next favorite on the list. I feel like this contributes to like the popularity contest kind of way to win this award, because he's already made quite a splash in the media, calling out Nat Hackett for what he did with this roster last year, calling it the worst head coaching job in the history of the league. He's definitely setting his own expectations high and his expectations of the team high. And this team won, what, 5 games last year? Maybe 4?
I think it was 5.
And if he were to turn this team, the thing is that there's no way that they're going to give Sean Payton this award if they miss the playoffs. And the AFC is already loaded with teams that not only have been perennial playoff appearance teams, but now there's like 3 or 4 teams that are looking to make a push in Jacksonville, the Jets, Miami, the Chargers. Like those teams are looking to now make a major push into playoff contention too. The Ravens. So do I think that the Broncos can make the playoffs? No. So do I think that Sean Payton can win Coach of the Year? No, I don't.
I just wanted to bring up really quick the Coach of the year after year winners, and if we can just think back the best of our ability, did all these teams make the playoffs?
The Giants, yes. The Titans, yes. Stefanski and the Browns, yes. That's why he won that, because he took the worst team and made the playoffs with Baker. John Harbaugh with the Ravens, that was the year Lamar won his MVP. Matt Nagy with the Bears.
I think they made the playoffs. They lost on the
Was that
62-yarder, the double doink.
No way. The crossbar?
So. Yeah. What's his name?
Mason Who Crossbar? Cares?
No, it's Packers.
I know.
No.
Who did they lose to?
The Eagles.
Gee. No.
That was the year they won the Super Bowl, I'm pretty sure. No. Yikes.
All right. Sean McVay with the Rams. That was the year they went to the Super Bowl and lost. Jason Garrett with the Packers. That was Dak and Zeke's rookie year. Ron Rivera with the Panthers. That was Cam Newton's MVP year, 15-1. Bruce Arians with the Cardinals.
I think 2014
was that the Fitz Kurt Warner year?
Carson Palmer.
Oh, yeah.
And Fitz, I think. Oh, they beat the Packers. Was that the
like almost walk-off run by Fitz?
Yeah, and then they gave it to him.
Yeah.
I cry every time. That's a
Next.
Larry Fitzgerald, baby.
Ron Rivera won it again with the Panthers. And then Bruce Arians won it again with the Colts. Oh, that's right. Andrew Luck. Jim Harbaugh with the 49ers and Colin Kaepernick. Belichick with the Pats. Marvin Lewis with the Bengals. Dude, that guy, I thought he never made the playoffs. Maybe that was Carson Palmer. Did Carson Palmer get 2 Coach of the Year awards?
Super Bowl champion in 2009 was the New Orleans Saints. See, I always have to check that. Let's go to one for reference. Yikes.
Oh, no. Yikes.
Let's go to one for reference. Does it say the Giants won? Yep. Okay. Here we go. 2009. Did the Bengals make the playoffs?
Passing leader was Matt Schaub in that year. That's crazy. All right. Let's move on. Dude, let's go back to the Google Doc.
Dude, where the hell did this just take me? AFC standings. Yeah, the Bengals made the playoffs. All right. I feel better. Team has to make the playoffs for you to qualify. Isn't that crazy?
No, it's not. You're a coach. It's your resume is based off of wins and losses.
All right,
you're not on the field.
Arthur Smith, to me. Remember the swinger?
Yeah,
I'm not gonna do it. Dude, this guy runs the ball a lot, though.
Yeah,
and he has a really good offensive line. Two of his offensive linemen are like top 15 paid in the league. In Lindstrom and Matthews. They just got the first ballot rookie of the year on their team. They have a game manager, a quarterback. They made additions on defense.
Dude. First ballot rookie of the year. Do you know what that means?
Unanimous.
Oh, that's what you were saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, dude, the Falcons are on a rocket ship headed to the moon. They just have to beat the Saints for the NFC South.
Dude, the case with Arthur Smith is like it's a passing league, and they have made it very abundantly clear that they are going to prioritize the run, and they're going to run it like 70% of the time, and that's where they're going to make their money on offense. They draft Bijan to complete that puzzle. Like you said, their O-line is loaded with guys. But, like, dude, if they don't win the division, they're not going to be able to sneak into a wild. Like, dude, if they can somehow turn this team, which was, 7-10 last year, into like a 12-5 or 13-4 team, yeah, absolutely Arthur Smith deserves it.
I don't know, like, dude, I think they could, like, the Saints can go like 10-7, and the Falcons can maybe go like 11-6. I don't know about 12-5. I think only the Saints are 13-4, 12-5 is only the Saints can really get that on like a really, really good year. I know they have a really soft schedule, but the next best one is Matt Eberflus.
I don't want to talk about this any more than I have to. But if he was able to suddenly transform Fields into an elite passer that can make game-winning plays down the stretch, sure, I can see him winning if they win the NFC North after last year going 3-14.
It's like any team that was bad last year and they have a big jump this year is eligible. So we should just talk about those teams. The Jets. Robert Saleh.
But do we give him the credit?
No. But
it's the CinqBoys.
Okay, so you think it's a non-starter. Robert Saleh, there's no chance he ever wins the Coach of the Year.
Why would he, dude? They brought in Rodgers.
I
Like
agree,
that's
but
the
they have a
difference.
dominant defense, and he came from defense,
So
and
then give him
it's
the
just like
defensive
it's,
coordinator of the year award.
but he's not.
Who is
Dude, what if the Jets have like they allow like 13 points per game this year,
and what?
and they have like 6 shutouts.
Come on. Six shutouts with that schedule? Are you insane?
Yeah, no. There's no way.
That yeah, dude, no. Declined. No. And they still lose. They lose when they shut out teams because Rodgers is bad. So
I,
you give him the coach of the year?
I don't think I've ever been more sure that one team isn't going to succeed more than the Jets.
It's the
We've been
CinqBoys.
so up and down on the Jets. I wanted when the Aaron Rodgers drama started happening and the Jets were in the conversation, immediately I was like, please, I want chaos. Please bring him to the Jets. Of course it backfires. I'm annoyed by any Jets fan with their optimism. Um, I don't think you get to look down on us with Aaron Rodgers. You have a guy that looks down on us, but he's not actually that guy anymore. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't know why I'm going off on an Aaron Rodgers tangent. Speaking of Aaron Rodgers, Matt LaFleur is the next one.
If this guy can lead Jordan Love and this Packers team to a division win and 12 wins, I'll consider it. The Packers are going to have to blow everyone away and prove Rodgers was the problem. If they can prove Rodgers was the problem, I think that Matt LaFleur has a pretty good shot to win Coach of the Year.
Yeah. Yes.
And that's really it, dude. If they can win games, I'm definitely going to consider him because he has a good reputation around the league as like this offensive genius. I see, like, and Rodgers seems like a guy that needs to be in control. So maybe once Rodgers is gone, he's able to kind of craft Jordan Love to do what he wants to do instead of what Rodgers wants to do, and they can win games.
Mike Tomlin. This guy should be in it every year.
Yes, sir.
He inspires. I don't know if there's a better word you can use for it.
He's a coach.
No, but
he's a motivator.
He does it more than everybody else, then, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
He's not just a coach. He's the most inspiring coach. He is the heart and soul of that team and that defense, and they play for him. And it's been years and years and years that he's been in Pittsburgh, just like a couple other coaches in this league. And I don't know how long an average coach coaches for with a given organization, but he's blown that number out of the water, and these guys play for him like they just met him and they love him.
Dude, I think that the idea of the coach is supposed to be someone that every single person in that organization respects, listens to, and follows blindly. And, you know, he's somebody that motivates you to be your best self. Well, that's kind of deep, but like there's not a lot of those guys anymore. Like
I was gonna say,
like a lot of these guys are number
them,
crunchers.
I would have been like, yuck, because there's a couple.
Yeah, there's a lot of these guys are number crunchers, and you know they're hired based off of like schematics and stuff like that. There's not a lot of just like true leaders of men that are in these jobs these days. And Mike Tomlin has been in this position for a reason for a long time. So he took a season with a failed top pick quarterback in Trubisky and then a rookie 20th overall pick quarterback to 9-8 last year with TJ Watt on the sideline for most of the season. I think that a lot of people are buying into what the Steelers are doing this year, and I think that if they can sneak into the playoffs, I think Tomlin definitely deserves a hard look at this award.
For me, I just didn't really consider Mike Tomlin only because this isn't one of those like consistency awards. It's one of this team was bad last year and we made the playoffs. That's this award. And I'm looking back on it, and we got the next guy coming up is Pete Carroll. I kind of feel like Pete in Seattle kind of got robbed last year. But being that they did finish as the 7 seed in the NFC and the Giants finished as the 6, they both deserved every bit of it. Pete Carroll's the next. He's at plus 2,000, 20-1 odds. We had them going 2-15 in 2022. They go 9-8. They make the playoffs. Kind of out of contention for this award, but just another guy that gets the most out of his team year after year.
Are we going to see the Russell Wilson leaves town and the guy that backs him up turns into a beast because of the coach effect with Jordan Love and the Packers and Matty?
I
And
hope so. Dude, I'm rooting for everybody to do good.
So am I, dude.
But Jordan Love, yes, definitely. I hope that they're good. I hope Aaron Jones doesn't just go to waste. I hope, you know, like there's not a whole lot for me to root for on the Packers except for Aaron Jones, but that team is good and that franchise has been good, and it's been like 30 to 40 years of great quarterbacks. Let's see if they can keep that streak going.
All right. So like I mentioned in the beginning, a lot of the remaining coaches are guys that have won the award before or that should pretty much every year. Andy Reid, Daboll, Shanahan, Harbaugh. Ron Rivera's won it a couple times with the Panthers. Mike Vrabel won it 2 years ago. Doug Peterson should have won it with the Eagles with the Nick Foles Super Bowl year. But the guy that we want to talk about right now is Mr. Mike McDaniel in Miami.
Just looking at the trends, and they didn't make the play. They did make the playoffs last year. Yikes! We went against the trends. I mean, I didn't check. They, whatever. He is the new head coach, offensive mind of a team that's ready to explode, ready to go on a run, and get credited for all of it. That's what this guy seems like. You look at the guys around him that kind of have the same odds. Dennis Allen isn't winning shit. Mike Vrabel, Doug Peterson, Ron Rivera, John Harbaugh, yikes. Shanahan, Daboll, Andy Reid, all experienced coaches, all at the helm of the franchise for quite a while, or have been a head coach for a long time, have made a name for themselves, doesn't need this award to solidify that they're a good head coach. Mike McDaniel is the guy that's next in line. If there's any other runner-ups, like I have Arthur Smith as my second runner-up. If they could steal the NFC South from the Saints, then Smith could be worthy of an AP Coach of the Year nod.
I think too, like one thing that we didn't really mention when we were looking at the past winners is that a lot of those guys' teams were some of the best in the league. Like those teams, I've always thought before we went through this list that the best team's coach normally wins the award, or at least they're right there. And Mike McDaniel, there was this story going on last year before one of the primetime Dolphins games saying how Tua was starting to doubt himself as a player, and Mike McDaniel kind of brought him back to earth and raised his confidence so much that he turned into a highly efficient quarterback. So, and dude, I think the Dolphins have a serious chance to win the Super Bowl this year. So that's why I picked Mike McDaniel. I just think that he's this new coach that kind of just got onto the scene, and the Dolphins weren't necessarily good 2 years ago. Last year they get Tyreek, but it wasn't that much of an ad. They only added one or two guys here and there, and that team made the playoffs. And for the record, gave the Bills a run for their money in that game with Skylar Thompson. So how much of that can you contribute to Mike McDaniel? But yeah, dude, I'm picking him. I'm just not comfortable enough with the guys that we talked about before. I could see Pete Carroll, Mike Tomlin, Arthur Smith.
Because they deserve it, but not because they fit the trend.
Exactly. So,
the Steelers didn't make the playoffs last year, but they still went positive with a roster that wasn't expected to do a whole lot. They had a rookie quarterback / QB battle. in the beginning of the season, and he still gets 9 wins. I think they went 7-2 in the last 9 weeks. God damn, that guy can coach.
All right, offensive rookie of the year. I think there's only like like maybe 3 or 4.
This is a 2-horse race.
Wow.
Actually, I'm going to go with 3. I'll do the top 3. But first, let's talk about some of our favorites. Me and Joe both love Dalton Kincaid. The Bills went out of their way to replace
Dawson Knox. And apparently Josh Allen and Dawson Knox are best friends. And they decided to stick a fork in between both of those and draft Kincaid because he's an absolute specimen.
Yeah,
his wheels, hands.
Going into the draft for teams that needed a tight end, I thought it was easily going to be Mayer from Notre Dame that was going first. I think he was like the 3rd or 4th drafted. Ended up going to the Raiders. Tough shift. Unless you can become friends with Jimmy G, which, you'd be a good dump off option. Anyway, Dalton Kincaid has been touted as unbelievable route runner, pair of hands, good blocker, all around tight end. I already played a full Madden season with him. He had 1,500 yards and 17 touchdowns. That is an absolute long shot. Dalton Kincaid is 40-1. A couple other guys don't really have a huge chance because I think this is almost a 1-horse race and there's no other real choice besides Bijan. JSN, I think, is an interesting play, 21-1. I think he was drafted first receiver in the draft, and he's going to prove that. He's an incredible route runner, good playmaker. Johnston from TCU on the Chargers could become the second or even the first option for Justin Herbert this year. He's super athletic, super tall, great playmaker. But I think it's just going to go to Bijan. Hopefully there's no injuries.
All right, so my 4, so I think it's a 2 or 3 horse race, but I think Bijan, like, far and away is set up like the best to have personal success this year. We already went over the Arthur Smith schematic system with the O-line and the running game, so I think that they just this is on a platter for him to win. With the quarterbacks, Anthony Richardson, I like him more to win this award because he's definitely going to be able to provide more highlights. And I don't know how much of a popularity contest this is going to be with the quarterbacks. And his team and his coach are better. Shane Steichen is known for being a quarterback guru. So we'll see how that goes. He did what he did with Jalen Hurts last year. Dalton Kincaid, I agree with Jack. This guy is a freak. He also has Josh Allen as his quarterback. So
I thought Josh Allen sucked.
I think that he needs to reel back on the mistakes and for them to win games. He is insanely talented. But my last one is Jalen Hyatt. I think that we could see a similar season to what Christian Watson did last year, where he just exploded onto the scene in the middle of the year as this deep threat, take a slant to the house kind of guy. I think Jalen Hyatt presents the same type of skill set and body and frame and all that stuff. So I could see, I don't think Hyatt's going to win this award. He's at plus 5,000 and Bijan has too much going for him, but I think that Jalen Hyatt will be one of the better rookies out of this class.
Now, why can't Young or Richardson take it from Bijan?
Young, that offensive roster is so bad. And it's Frank Reich in his first year there.
I don't know if it's so bad. I would say that it's not good enough, but I don't think it's terrible.
Dude, Adam Thielen is their one, and he's 34. Jonathan Mingo is like a 4th-round pick.
Adam Thielen's super consistent.
He is, and I believe that he'll be fine. And I really like what Bryce Young did in the preseason, even though they couldn't score. They couldn't score. I really like what he does in the pocket. I think he's accurate. I think the height doesn't matter as much, but dude, I'm telling you.
I just, in the preseason for these guys, they probably played like 6 quarters max. That's a game and a half. I think they get 3-4 weeks in, and you're going to see much, much different play, much more production.
I'm definitely rooting for Bryce Young. CJ Stroud seems scared shitless and like he's not ready for this moment. He barely won a quarterback battle against a guy that's won like 4 games in 2 seasons. Like,
also, like, you want your first reps in the preseason to be like clean and nice. And his first pass, he was running for his life, rolling out through like one of those like where the safety is like, I'm baiting you, but I'm really like showing you that I'm going to come up. Don't float the pass in. You have to throw it in there and get it in there. And he just lobs one up, picked off. First pass in the preseason.
yeah, big yuck. All right. Defensive rookie of the year.
Oh, we both went with Bijan with
With the
offense.
offensive. Easy.
Defensive. Okay, so nobody's talking about this award. Is there anybody that's a huge name besides Jalen Carter and Will Anderson?
I've heard a lot of good things about Jack Campbell, the linebacker in Detroit. We know that the defensive coaching in New England is excellent. Every year they bring in new guys, and these no-name guys that nobody knows about have great seasons with the Patriots. I think that Christian Gonzalez is in a good spot. I don't know if a corner can win the award this year. I mean, Sauce won it last year, but I think that there's a better chance for Will Anderson to have a good season, Jalen Carter to have a good season. Excuse me. That being said, I took Emmanuel Forbes as my pick. I watched this guy's highlights from college, and he just makes football look easy. Like he's playing against little kids, and he has a knack for big plays. So I could see him scoring 3 touchdowns this year. That's an absolute stretch. If I was Washington, I know they have Curtis Samuel. They have a bunch of skill guys that. What?
Go ahead.
What?
Go ahead.
They have a bunch of guys that they could put back on punt returns and kick returns to make plays, but I would put.
Oh, I can't hold it in. Will Anderson plus 430. This guy sacked me almost every play, man.
Oh. Those are my notes on Will Anderson. I don't know anything about him aside from the fact that he sacked me like every play.
Who does Forbes go to?
The Commanders, dude.
Yeah.
The Commanders drafted 2 corners in the first 2 rounds, and they have an all-pro safety.
And they have the scariest D-line in football.
Yeah, so I think that, like, what did we talk about with the Cowboys and Micah Parsons is that an elite pass rush creates turnovers in the secondary. And if Forbes picks off 3 or 4 passes this year, he might be able to take 2 or 3 to the house. That's my point, and I think that those are the guys that really turn heads, especially as rookies in this league.
Yeah, picks are one thing. Pick 6s and multiple of them. Can't really overstate that, overvalue that. Now, I am going with who shouldn't be a sleeper. He's the second favorited. I think he's a sleeper only because people aren't talking about him how much he fell in the draft. Plus 550, Jalen Carter. I think the Eagles, this guy's going to be unbelievable. He was like the unanimous number 1 overall pick. And then all the quarterback stuff happened. It was like, oh, these teams need quarterbacks. And then the Panthers traded up. But going into the 2022 season and coming out of the 2022 season before the speeding situation, Jalen Carter was the consensus number 1 overall pick. I think he's going to show it this year. He's going to take that position from whoever has it now. Him and Jordan Davis are going to be awesome in the middle, but he's going to be the game wrecker, even better than the Eagles' defense has already been.
Yeah. I mean, you want to talk about too many cooks in the kitchen. There's 200 cooks in that kitchen.
I mean, they have a little bit less than last year, though.
There are less cooks. Maybe 197.
Yeah.
All right. So I took Forbes, Jack took Carter. We're moving on. Conference winners.
Now, so I did I separated it by who can make it to the conference championship for their respective conference. And there were a lot more AFC teams than there were NFC teams. Now, who can actually win the AFC? I think that list is shorter.
Dude, something just happened.
What? Why can't you let me read the notification?
Because this website constantly feeds me. It's a fucking proposal. Dude, I hate the news.
To land Mike Evans?
Yeah. I get a notification saying Dallas Cowboys land 4-time Pro Bowler in this trade with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm like, oh, I got to open this up. The Cowboys just got Mike Evans? Unbelievable. Nope, it's a fucking proposal.
So who can win the
Clickbait
AFC? The Chiefs, the Bills, the Bengals, the Ravens, the Chargers, the Dolphins, and the Steelers. Some notable names that I left out. The New York Jets. The Jacksonville Jaguars. The Cleveland Browns, who I really like this year. They might make the playoffs. We never know. That's an absolute loaded division. I like that team if Deshaun starts playing well. But the Jets are not making it to the AFC.
It's the CinqBoys.
And they're definitely not representing the AFC in the Super Bowl. There's way too many teams. The thing about the Jets that I didn't say yet, but it's all about the timing and how these teams come together and, naturally coming up together. Like the Chargers, we've been together for a couple of years. This is Justin Herbert's like third or fourth year. I can't really remember. And he's poised for success. We built it the right way. The Dolphins, they started to line all their soldiers in a row. The Chiefs, we're kind of just going to go as Mahomes goes. Mahomes. The Bills build it around Josh Allen. Bengals build it around Joe Burrow. The Jets are just like, we're gonna sign this quarterback, and we're gonna be right up there with those teams. It's not how it works. Also, it doesn't even add up on paper that it should be as good as those other teams. Jets aren't. They're just not going that far. The Jags, they should be better than last year. Why? Not a whole lot of tangible evidence. But their defense looked good on paper going into last year, and they were nothing special. Hopefully, Trayvon Walker can actually show up and start playing well. The rest of their defense...
Random Trayvon Walker dig. Why did you say that?
I think he went first overall last year.
Yeah, he did, but...
Start playing like a first overall guy. Nobody's talking about you for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year. Guys like Watt and Bosa, those guys have been in it every year since their rookie year. Now, getting down to the nitty gritty.
What were we doing before?
Bullshitting.
Okay.
AFC champion. Is it the Chiefs?
Probably.
Is it the Bills?
Not likely.
Is it the Bengals?
Also not as likely.
Is it the Ravens?
I like the Ravens.
I like the Ravens. They're all right, The Chargers?
I also like the Chargers.
I think they can go really far.
Yeah?
Yeah, they talk about on paper. The Dolphins?
I absolutely like the Dolphins.
They're okay. What about the Steelers?
No.
Mike Tomlin's heart.
Next year, dude.
In the middle of that team.
Dude, next year.
I don't know, dude. They can go on an absolute run.
But, dude, they're going to be on the road against, like, the 2 seed. Like, best case, they get the 7 seed. That's the best case. They're on the road against the 2 seed, which is probably the Bills, Bengals, or Ravens. Or the Chargers. And then once they win that game, they're going to have to be on the road against another one of those teams. And then in the AFC Championship, they're going to have to be on the road again at one of those teams. No way, dude. I mean, we're talking about teams that can win the AFC conference.
Win the AFC, yeah.
Next year for the Steelers. Next year,
maybe. I think they can. I think they can win the AFC. But my pick for the AFC champion, Buffalo Bills.
Thanks.
Josh Allen, Revenge tour. No more turnovers. Lots of touchdowns, lots of points, lots of rushing yards. And then Dalton Kincaid and Stephon Diggs are going to catch a lot of footballs and score a lot of touchdowns and run really far doing it. And they're going to figure out that run game. And their defense is still pretty good. All around, hungry quarterback, hungry team for success. They've been in the conversation of a contender for years since they've had big old Josh.
Big old Josh.
And
yikes, dude! This whole take is rough.
he's they're going to the big party in where's the Super Bowl this year?
I don't know, dude.
They're going to the big party at Super Bowl 57.
All right. Chiefs, like I said a million times, we shouldn't bet against them until they give us a reason. I think that the Ravens and Dolphins have the best chance of making it to the Super Bowl out of the AFC. But what do we talk about with their quarterbacks more often than not? The injury history. So what actually creates like a winner in the NFL playoffs is like somebody that plays through injuries. I feel like that's important. Like somebody just getting absolutely beat up and then still showing up and being so yeah, it's the Chiefs, dude. But if I'm not gonna take the Chiefs, I'm switching my pick here. I'm taking the Ravens. It's time for Lamar and the Ravens and that 74% career winning percentage with all the additions that they made on the offensive side, with Lamar healthy, with the defense still doing its thing. I'm taking the Ravens to go to the Super Bowl in the AFC.
They're still kind of a sleeper pick.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Now, I think last year
too many good teams in the AFC.
I think last year we talked about if you're too strong of a rushing team and you can't be a great passing team in the clutch, you're not going to be able to win a game against Mahomes.
I mean, yeah, he's probably going to score 35 points. So,
but my point
can you score 35 running the ball the whole game? Probably not.
Exactly. But the thing is that they're another team that's very, very, very well rounded, and especially on the defensive side, like they got Roquan from the Bears. They drafted Kyle Hamilton. They already have good cornerbacks
and Patrick Queen.
And I think they had to get rid of Calais Campbell after last year, but they still have a really solid D line.
And JPP and Justin Houston are all gone.
Like it's just a really solid team
and Wink
all around.
Wink's gone too.
Stop saying stuff that hurts them when I'm saying that they're going to be good.
I think they're going to be good too. Dude, but what proves your point about they're going to be good is that Wink wasn't there last year, and they signed a bunch of guys off the street, and they were unreal. They were a lock for an under, especially
in the think of anybody else besides.
I don't know. I don't know anybody in their D line now.
All right, we're looking up Ravens depth chart. Dun, 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 dun. All right, Matabuke, Michael Pierce, Broderick Washington, Odafe Owe.
Oh, Owe was good last year.
Roquan, David Ajabo, Patrick Queen, Rakia Sin. Okay. It's definitely worse than last year. Oh, they got Jadeveon Clowney. That's hilarious.
That kind of thing works for them, though.
No, I know. That's hilarious that he went to another good defensive team because he's going to be good. Do you get where I'm going there?
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the NFC with the championships. Or championship.
All right. Who can make it to the NFC championship?
Eagles, 49ers, Cowboys, Seahawks, Giants.
No Saints?
Nah.
No Vikings?
Absolutely not. They might not make the playoffs.
Now, I wanted to be realistic here and be like, you know what? The New York Football Giants, they're a great team. They take another step forward, but I don't know if they can represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. I don't know. I'm a Giants fan. I already put down my Giants to win the Super Bowl future. I already believe it in here. But
he says,
I think the San Francisco 49ers are the best team in the NFC. The Eagles took a step back. If you heard our last episode, the Cowboys may not have taken a huge step back, but losing Kellen Moore and having Mike McCarthy call the plays is going to be really rough.
They can't slap my knee.
The 49ers are the class of the NFC. And Rocky Poo.
Yeah, Rocky Poo. Big cock Brock.
They made it to the NFC chip last year. They're going to win that game this year. And they're going to go to the Super Bowl.
Only if the Giants aren't on the other side of the field.
That's true. We did do it once. We're not afraid to do it again.
Hell yeah.
So I think it's pretty clear. Even though I think the Saints can make it, possibility-wise, I already made my pick.
Yeah, you made your pick, but you're making it a point to throw it in there that you think the Saints can make it to the NFC Championship. Get the hell out of here.
17-1 odds to win.
They're going to be the 4 seed. They're going to be on the road every game except for the wild card.
We don't know that. I don't know why you would say something like that. We looked at their schedule.
Okay, they might be better with a good defense. They might be better than the NFC North team. Okay.
I'm not even saying that they could beat the 49ers or any of these other teams. I think that they could make it to the NFC Championship. I'm not saying that they're going to win, but
how good is Derek Carr in the cold? They're going to be playing in a dome half the games of their season, and then what happens when it's January 18th and they're in Philly?
How do you
get the fuck out of here?
How do you know that?
Because that's how these things go.
We need to bring up another reference.
No.
Yes.
No. Yes. Dude, we only have like 10 minutes max.
Dude, what are you going
to look up?
Saints schedule.
Dude, what do you mean? They're in a dome. They play in a dome.
I know, but they might earn a good enough record where they don't have to go on the road.
There's no way that they finish with a better record than the Eagles and the 49ers. And the Cowboys.
Run through it. We got the Titans first. Well, I'll give you 50-50 to be nice, but I think the Saints win that game. We talked about it last night. I'm not going to throw you under the bus. Carolina win.
Why would you throw me under the bus? I had the Saints to win.
Exactly. Carolina, Green Bay. I'll give you Green Bay as a toss-up. I still think the Saints win that game. Tampa Bay, blow them out of the water. New England, that'll be a dogfight. But it's another game the Saints are capable of winning. Houston, Jacksonville, Indianapolis, Chicago, Minnesota, Atlanta, Detroit. Dude, those teams might be better than them, but they're in them. The Giants they're losing to. But then the Rams, the Bucks, and the Falcons to close out the season. There's no reason why this team can't win 12, 13 games.
Injuries.
That is true. If you bring up a good point, my friend.
Yeah, you're the one that normally brings that up. And of course, when you're making a point, I have to bring it up because my back's against the wall.
And, it's irrefutable. You never know what's going to happen. But I think we broke down the NFC South. Go listen to that episode. I feel good about the Saints. Derek Carr with a good defense. I'm not going to say the coaching's good, but Alvin Kamara is still Alvin Kamara. You said it yourself. Mike Thomas is coming back. You were excited. You wanted to bring him back. You wanted to have him on your fantasy team.
I do want him.
Chris Olave. Chris Olave is going to be the number one target in that offense. He's going to be good.
It's not. I watched the highlights. It's Mike Thomas and Juwan Johnson.
Okay.
I think Chris Olave is going to have...
Having Chris Olave as the third option is going to be a fantastic thing for them. Kendrick Miller, they have backup for the running back. They have Jamal Williams.
Dude, I think Alvin Kamara is the thing that really puts them over the top. That guy looks rejuvenated.
Tell me right now.
They can't beat the 49ers or the Eagles, dude, or the Cowboys, or the Seahawks.
You don't think the Saints can beat the Cowboys?
No.
A good defense against the Cowboys in the playoffs?
Dude, Dak and the Cowboys have these games where they put up 40 points. Do I think the Saints
What about
can
if they
match
have to
that?
go into the swamp?
What are you talking about?
What if they have to go into Baton Rouge?
In the dome?
Yeah.
With no external
Mercedes-Benz.
challenges, dude? Dak...
Except for the crowd? Dak will melt into a puddle.
I don't think that's how that works, dude. I think he's fine on the road. I think he's fine on the road.
Yeah, he's fine on the road. Him and
All
Candlestick.
right, well, I put down that the Giants are going to the Super Bowl, and Jack made me change it because he thought I would be a homer pick.
Yeah, total homer
but
pick.
I think that the Giants are going to go to the Super
Bowl. Come on. It's so rough.
All right, but okay, so I picked the 49ers. If I'm going to be more realistic, according to
they're the
Jack
best
thinks.
team in the NFC.
So why are we making this 15-minute argument about the Saints?
Can the Giants beat the 49ers in the playoffs?
Yes.
No.
Their O-line got worse. It's Brock Purdy or Sam Darnold. The Giants' O-line got better. The Giants' pass rush got better. The Giants' secondary got better. The Giants' receiving core got better. The Giants' run game is still intact. Daniel Jones got paid and looks better than ever. The Giants are just up. The 49ers have been floating up here for a while, and their O-line got worse. And who knows what's going to happen with their quarterbacks, and their defense lost some guys. As high as I am on the 49ers, I am going to point out their flaws and say that the Giants are going to beat them and make it to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
I couldn't hold it in.
CinqBoys podcast host cares about content. Jack is talking right now. Nobody beats the 49ers when it comes to roster, coaching, and scheme. Now, Giants fan,
not there?
Giants fan Jack just showed up. We're winning the Super Bowl.
Yes, man!
We're winning the Super Bowl.
Fucking go, man!
So I think I've just decided that there's just going to be two personalities. And I'm just going to go with it because I believe in this Giants team. But if I'm going to give a pick that, people are listening to this, they don't want to think that we're an absolute joke. They know that we're Giants fans. We're about to do a podcast that circulates completely and only about the Giants. Yeah, we're both gonna pick the Giants. No, it's ridiculous. And I made Joe change it so that we're clear, so I don't look worse as a Giants fan for not picking them.
I'm picking the Giants.
Super Bowl predictions. We each have our NFC and AFC champ. Both have the 49ers. I have the Bills. You have the Ravens now? Going with the Ravens? I had the Ravens last year. We all were worried about the Lamar injury, and it happened. Joe, who wins the Super Bowl? Ravens or 49ers?
$49ers.
I'm
not comfortable with that because I think that the Giants are going to win the Super Bowl.
That would be a replay of the Harbaugh Bowl. Remember that?
Yeah, that'd be fucking so weak.
2012. No, that would be a really, really fun game. And dude, I think the Giants will win the Super Bowl too.
All right, so we decided it.
But CinqBoys podcast host again talking here. I got the Bills beating the 49ers in the Super Bowl.
Stab.
Josh Allen went on an absolute rant about him before. Dude, I think he's bordering on like passing Mahomes as just like the most likable quarterback in the league.
He's not.
Why?
He's not going to pass Mahomes until he beats Mahomes.
No, we're talking about likability, not wins or stats.
I know.
Nah, I think he's already passed Mahomes. I think on Mahomes.
What planet are you on?
Sometimes, it comes off as a cocky prick sometimes.
And what? Josh Allen is your buddy?
Oh, Josh Allen is he brings his lunch pail to work and he does it with a smile.
What does Mahomes do?
He's frowning the whole time.
Okay, dude. So you before you said that, you said, all right, who's returning now is podcast host. And then you say that shit.
Yeah.
Mahomes is frowning, so he's not as likable. Dude, come on. All right, well, I had just to wrap this up, I had a couple of cases here, like where is it? I think the Dolphins can win the Super Bowl. I mean, I know we just went through this, but if I think the teams that also have a chance, the Dolphins, the Giants, obviously, and the Commanders. I don't think the Commanders are going to win the Super Bowl, but I think they have a chance to splash some splashes in the playoffs. I think that they're the most underrated team in the league. Jack, you have any total dark horse Super Bowl picks? The Steelers?
The Chargers.
Oh, let's fucking go. I always forget. Dude, there's so many good teams in the NFL these days. So many athletes. It's quite a day to be alive and be an NFL fan. We're buzzing. Yes, guys. All right, we're gonna wrap this bad boy up. And it's been the CinqBoys podcast. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at CinqBoys. And we'll catch you guys. Let's have a hell of a season. Hammer the Giants plus 4,800 to win the Super Bowl. All right, guys.